For the workshop you just mentioned, it is the Singularity channel in the Filecoin Slack. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any question. So let me share my screen. Okay, I'm going to share the desktop because I'm going to switch between different apps. So Singularity, what is Singularity? It is a end-to-end tool which gives you a way to onboard data, send out deals, and also import deals, as well as do the final retrieval. Let's take a look. So it is a modular design where you can take each part take whatever part you are interested in. It has a data preparation tool or a module which you can use to if you have like a petabyte of data or terabytes of data, you can use this tool to prepare the data so that it can be onboarded to the Filecoin network. Why do we need data preparation? That's because the Filecoin, it requires the data to be in certain format, like it need to have the piece commitment CID, has a bunch of different things before you can onboard data to Filecoin so that the data can be provable. So the data preparation module is useful to prepare the data to convert from a raw format to a format that Filecoin accepts. The deal making module is a ad hoc way for you to send out deals. Say that you have the data prepared and you want to send those deals to yourself or to other storage providers. You can use the deal making tool to set up speed. Say that I want to make 1 deal per minute or 3 deals per hour, so that it will start to make deals to the storage provider you have selected. Of course, you will also track the deal status so that it make sure it's not going to see the same deal again and again, as well as if the deal has expired or slashed, you'll resend the deal if that has expired or slashed. And then the tool is called deal import tool. That's kind of a tool that's used from the storage provider side, where you can, once you receive the deal, you can actually start import the deal with URL provided by the client, so that the client has the data prepared and it has hosted on S3 or on its own local file system, or using Apache or using Nginx to host it in an HTTP service. Then as a provider, you can use this tool to say, hey, I received this deal. Now I know I can just download it from your HTTP server. I can import deal while I download those files. And finally is the data retrieval tool. That's more like a work in progress tool. It's used for retrieval things that has been onboarded to Filecoin. Let's take a deep look into what each of them does. So the data preparation tool is a module which kind of converts the original data set to a car file and metadata. For those who are familiar with car files, those not familiar with those car files, those are the files that's like a tarball, like a tar archive, but it has all the data that's about each file. For example, the hash value of each file and how those files are structured in the directory, to make sure that each file are provable, has its own hash value, and it's chunked into multiple pieces. The metadata is a mapping from the file name to the CID of the car file. So why we need we'll demonstrate in a bit. It also supports S3 bucket. So if your data is on S3, for example, most of the slingshot data set is on S3, you don't have to download it beforehand. You can just say, I want to prepare the data set for S3. It'll download the data set to the local file system while preparing it and maintaining a very small size of maintaining a very small size of a cache on the file system, so it's not going to fill up the disk for the downloaded data. And next one is right now it's got designated tool for slingshot visual data preparation, because the metadata it generated can be further in the future. It can be used for things like data explorer or compute over data, because it's maintaining the architecture of the data and then for the structure of the data, so it can be used later by researchers or other consumers. And finally, it's publish those indexes to IPFS, so that in a decentralized way, everyone will know how the file structure is structured for this data set and how to download each file on Filecoin based on the file name rather than based on the CID. So let's actually take a look how it works. So I have a system, it's running. So to install the Singularity is actually simple. It's npm install global pack3d/singularity. Since I've been already installed, I'll just skip this step. To run it, you can just say Singularity daemon. It's going to start a daemon, and you use another tool to interact with this daemon. Now, in a different console, I'm going to say Singularity preparation. And you can see what are the commands for data preparation. You can create a data set, say that you want to create a data preparation request. It tells you like, okay, give me a name of the data set, give me a path of data set, and where I should output of those car files. And of course, a bit of other tuning parameters for this thing. So let's try on some of our data set. So I see that this repo, the Singularity repo, it has 600 megabyte. Maybe it's a good candidate. So let's just prepare the data for Singularity itself. Create, let's say, test one. The path is here, and we want to output to maybe the file here, out folder. Okay, let's do the out folder as well. Oh, it's actually okay. Great. Singularity prepare, create task here, and out everything to out directory here. So this is going to spin up a request. Actually, I think I should just remove this one because I used too big of the sector size. So I'm going to remove this one. Okay, spin another again. Great. So we want to actually add a parameter called -s. So that makes sure we are not creating too big of car file. So we'll make it maybe 32 megabyte. Okay. Here you go. And then we are going to check the status of the preparation. So, well, it's a bit long, but it's saying that right now it has scanned 31,000 files. It's about to generate 35 different car files. Right now, 3 has completed and 32 is still pending. I can run it again. It's probably everything have completed. Okay, you can see that now everything has completed. It has generated 35 different car files. Let's examine the output folder. Yes, it does have a few car files. We can also check what each car file contains by using something like generation status or generation manifest. So we can say this one, and data set is called test, and we can going to inspect the one with number 0. So this is going to tell you that, okay, so this car file contains all those different files, and what's their size, and what's their index. You can also see what this request contains. So this request contains 30 to 35 different files. Each of them have completed, as those are the CID for each and PCID for those car files. This is the piece size and car size for this generation. Those maybe not, for those who are not familiar with those are the required parameters when we are making a deal in the future. Now we're actually going to try to make a deal. So let's go back to the repo, to the slides. So deal making module is something.
There's a question in the chat from Asher. What was the purpose of OS-S32?
Sorry, just the size.
-S, yes. So that's a good question. So Filecoin, if you're all storage providers, so you know that if your miner or your provider has something called a sector size, usually it's either 32 gigabyte or 64 gigabyte. That means you can also only onboard data up to 32 gigabyte in one sector, or 64 gigabyte in one sector. So the data preparation tool, by default, you're setting, if you don't set anything, it's making sure that each car file generated is going to match to either the 32 gigabyte sector size. However, if you're trying to prepare something for a 60 gigabyte miner, you can also say, I want to prepare data chunk the data to 64 gigabyte instead of 32 gigabyte. Here, for demonstrating purpose, because I only have 600 megabytes of data, I want to demonstrate to you that how do I split this data set into multiple car files. So I intentionally make a smaller deal size. So each deal will be 32 megabytes instead of gigabytes, so that you can show that there are 65 different car files being generated. Each of them are around 32 megabyte size. But in reality, you want to actually use 32 gigabytes so that one deal is going to fit into one sector. That's kind of increasing the efficiency of your deal making and deal importing.
Thank you.
Cool. So going back to the deal making module, so what is the point is like it's tracking the deal state and renewal. So for all of you, you probably already know that the deal expires in 1.5 years, and the tool will check the state. If the deal gets slashed or it needs renewal, it will make sure that you have the state recording in the database and you can send out deals again. It can also target number of replicas, so that if you want to send the deals to 5 different providers, but you only want to make sure that 3 of them gets, so you have you have 10 or even more server providers, but you only want to make sure that each file get only sealed 5 times. You can say that I want to set a target replica of 5. Then you automatically manage the deal sending so that it's not going to send more than 5 deals per car file. Hope that explained clearly.
And to add a little bit of more context, Slingshot program allows you to store up to 10 replicas per data set. And we have rewards up to the 7th replica for each data set. So there is economic incentive. If you go onto the Slingshot website, you'll see what the fill rewards are.
Oh, since you mentioned Slingshot, I also want to mention that the deal making module is different from the Slingshot deal engine. The deal making module in this tool is ad hoc deal making. Basically, it's going to make a deal from your local machine. However, the Slingshot program, it's using something we call the deal engine, and the deal engine will be sending out the deals to the server providers. So for those who are participating in Slingshot program, the deal making module here is not going to be anything relevant to the Slingshot deal engine. But if you have your own data set, say that you are a client and you onboarded a petabyte data for a customer, and you want to send out deals for your own provider you have selected, then this is a good tool to use to send out deals to them. So actually, let's take a look how it works.
If I understand, I'm also learning with the people here. If you have prepared data for yourself, basically, then you use this deal making module in Singularity, correct?
That's correct.
Cool, awesome.
So here I can say I want to send out deals to a list of server providers. Let's just start with the dummy one. That doesn't work. I want to send out the deals to the dataset called test and to fx0, say 1111. It won't work, but we're just gonna see how it looks like. And with the client, which is your wallet, so something like f0, actually f1, So that's your wallet address. And you want to can also specify something called URL prefix, which is telling them that, okay, download so once you receive a deal, you can actually download the car file from a URL that I have hosted. You can set up a price, you can set up if they are verified deal, set up a start delay, duration, offline deals. You can also say, I only want to send up up to 100 deals for each server providers. Or I can also say, I want to send up in a schedule, say every 1 minute, I want to send out 1 deal. So that will work like this, and up to 500 deals. So I'm going to send out 1 deals per minute until I hit 500 deals. And there's also -XP, which is a Chrome max pending deals, which means like, okay, I want to send out 1 deals per minute up to 500 deals, but I only send out deals if they have all the deals, the previous deals I have send sealed. It makes sure that I can only have, okay, sorry, let me explain again. So I'm going to send out deals once per minute for 500 minutes. But before I send deals, I'm going to check that the store providers does not have up to more than 100 pending deals. They have to seal all my previous proposal before I'm going to send them no deals. So that's kind of something very similar to something in Bitbot, which you define maximum pending deals, or something in Deal Engine as well. In Deal Engine, if you have played with it, it also defines that, okay, you can have up to 5 or 10 terabyte of max pending deals. You have to prove that you are seeing those deals before I'm going to proposing more deals to you. So once you hit this command, of course, it won't work. It looks like it works, but it should actually gives you a lot of error. But yeah, but that's how it works. Is you set up a speed with your server providers, and you can start sending them deals based on the speed you have agreed with. Of course, you can also do something like you can also change the schedule. So say that you want to say I want to pause it, or I want to reschedule with a different schedule. Say that, okay, I want to do something like a 2 per minute. This is not 2 per minute. This is actually this is 2 per minute. Then it will send out this 2 per minute instead of 1 per minute. Actually, this is 1 per hour. I'm sorry. So yeah, so this is kind of the idea of the deal making module, which you set the speed and you start sending deals to them. And you can also see the status of each deal here. This is going to tell you, hey, I have 500 deals. Actually, I haven't been able to send out any deals yet. That's kind of expected because we haven't set it up yet. Can also do verbose. Which will tell you how each deal look like. Right now there's no deals, but otherwise it will show up, okay, the status of each deal, how each deal is doing. It can be expired, or is it slashed, or is it having error, or is it active, is it published or proposed? It will be showing up here. Great, so that's all about deal making module. Now, once the deal has been made, as a store provider, I'm going to import some deals. So we have a small script for you to import a deal, which is something called Singularity-import. Okay, so this is a bit long, but in short, it's a script around how you import the deals using the Lotus miner. So Lotus miner accepts it stands up an API which you can call to actually import a deal. This is like a wrapper around that, and make sure you're not going to overflow your ceiling capacity, and also not your internet bandwidth, because you may want to download the car files while importing them. You want to say that I want to start importing deals made by Singularity. Actually, it can seal deals made by other tools as well. It's going to so this is going to say I only want to import deals from those client address. I'm going to look for car files, assuming it's already in your file local system. I'm only looking for the deals from proposal from a day ago. And the URL template is something, say, if the file does not exist in your local file system, then you can actually download it from some URL. You can give it a template for you to download to. That kind of match to what Singularity set up, something like when I send out the proposal, I can also have a URL or have a HTTP server set up for you to download this file. You can also specify the number of threads you want to download, where you want to download the file to. Of course, if you want to download or remove those files, if those files have been imported, and the interval for you, how you want to import the deals. So say if you're able to seal 2 terabytes per day, then it's likely you can only import 1 deal per like 20 minutes. And also you want to make sure you don't say that because import also takes some time, because when you hit import, it's probably going to take 10 minutes to verify the car file and do the actual importing. And that's actually going to consume some of the memory. So you want to set like a concurrency, max concurrency of your import. And finally, whether you want to monitor in a loop or you want to do a dry run. So this is kind of more like a storage provider side tool for you to import deals that are proposed by other people, including Slingshot or Singularity or Evergreen Engine. You can use this tool to import your deals and control the speed based on your ceiling capacity. Of course, you have to set up your Lotus Miner path or Miner API info so you can interact with the storage provider, interact with the Lotus Miner to import the deals for. Great. So, and the final one is about retrieval. So the retrieval is a bit tricky to actually demonstrate. But the idea is that once we have finished the data preparation, we can actually publish the index here. So if you want to say I want to create an index, it won't work because I don't have the IPFS running. But it will going to publish the index to IPFS and have once you link that IPFS CID to IPNS, which is a named solution service for IPFS, then the downloader, any retriever can actually download the file using Singularity Retrieve. So with some command, something similar to copy. Something similar to I want to download from Singularity IPNS dataset.io//2/folder. Then you actually look up the index on IPFS and see, okay, for this file, I know this is CID for this file. Then I can start downloading it from the storage provider I have selected or from IPFS directly once the retrieval supports IPFS or BizSwap protocol. So that's kind of the idea for retrieval. It's the difference between this retrieval with the common Filecoin retrieval is that it has an index public to IPFS, so it can retrieve by using the file path or file name instead of using the CID, because most of our Web2 consumer does not know the CID of each folder or each file beforehand. They are used to retrieval using the URL or using a path. This works with that. So that's most of the content for Singularity. I also want to talk a little bit about what's going to be developing for the future for Singularity. For one thing is that we want to develop something more like a SP-centric tool for you to pull data from different sources. It will be similar to deal import tool, but it's going to try to get the proposal from different sources. For example, the Evergreen engine or the deal engine for Slingshot V3 is a source of the deals. So once you onboard to Slingshot or onboard to Slingshot V3, and then you can use that tool, this tool to start getting the deals from Slingshot V3. And in the future, once we integrate with other sources of deals, you'll be able to pull deals from multiple different sources, and you have a single point of tool to manage all the deals you're going to be proposed. And next thing we want to do is more like a data preparation pipeline. So this Singularity tool works as it's running ad hoc on your own infrastructure, but we can also provide some kind of service similar to like a AWS S3, so that anyone can say, I want to onboard this file to Filecoin system. You can just do a S3 put object to the service, and the Singularity as a data preparation as a service, you will get the data and prepare the data and onboard it to Filecoin system. So that's kind of two different directions we're going to focus on for the future of the Singularity tool. Great. So that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much, Xian. It was so helpful and informational. We do have a couple questions in the chat. First coming from Angelo. Actually, we'll leave that last. Let's answer Dom's question. Why do I have to set var Lotus market? How does Singularity interact with Boost, or if you don't use Boost, how does that work?
I didn't see the question about the Lotus market.
It's
But
the
yeah,
second to last question in the chat.
Oh, okay, great. So let's first talk about Boost. Yes, it works with Boost. When you send out deals, you're actually going to query the miner, see what's the protocol of your Lotus market. If it's a Boost market, then it's going to send out a Boost deal. If it's a traditional Lotus market, then it's going to send out a traditional deal. Next question is about why I have to set Lotus market. Okay, so that's only for the import script. It's not for the deal preparation or the deal making. So that's only for the import tool, which you have to tell Lotus miner saying that, hey, I want to import this file for this deal. So that's why you need to set up the var Lotus market. Don't okay. And the final question about Angelo. Oh, that's another question. Great.
Yes, it's a great call out, Angelo. So Slingshot and Evergreen already has a list of data sets that we already have gone through the data cap process. So if you go on slingshot.filecoin.io, you can see a list of data sets that are eligible for you to claim and prepare and store. So for these data sets, you don't need data cap. But if you in the future you find other data sets that you would like to store with the ecosystem, you would apply for data cap, meaning that you don't have to pay to store these data. It's approved by the ecosystem. And we go through this process of checking whether it's useful data, whether it's good for the humanity that we store these data, and then we can onboard those and you can earn block rewards by storing these data. So that is a great call out in the future. If you want to venture outside of Slingshot after you learn all the skills, that's definitely a way to go about getting data cap and store more data sets. So another ask from Angelo is that, Xinan, is there a way you can show the data prepping, how that works with Slingshot? If it's not too hard to grab a data set from the list of data sets that are on the Slingshot website and show the folks how we could store them. And
yeah, let me prepare that. Give me just a minute.
Yeah, of course. And if folks can turn on their cameras and kind of, if that's available for you, that would be super awesome, because another part of this moon landing program is to cultivate this community where, as storage providers, you want to have other storage provider friends around the globe so you can store replicas together. And I see some familiar faces as well as some new faces, which is great. So we are still in the pilot of this moon landing program. It's meant to be this educational program on top of Slingshot and Evergreen, so that SPs can get to know each other, store replicas, earn rewards together, and have this partnership go beyond just moon landing. I would love to hear any feedback that you have for the program as well. And yeah, in the future, we will have more workshops on deal making, as well as storage being SP. Cool.
All right. I'm ready whenever.
Awesome. Go ahead, Xian.
Share. Okay. Great. So this is my Slingshot B3 dashboard. Though I know if I claim it, if I'm not going to do it, then this data set is not going to be done by any other people. But let's just try to grab a very, very small one here. I suppose everyone already have context of what Slingshot B3 does. Here you can grab a data set and you can prepare it, and then you can set up HTTP servers for it to be downloaded by other people. Here, I'm going to choose a small one. Let's see this one, 12 GB size. Let's claim this data set. Maybe. Once I claim it, I should be able to go to my claim data sets. Okay, there's one. And then I have this one. It's called MWISVR instances. I think we should give, okay, there's a bucket here. So we can actually try to see this one, what it is. So this is the data set, and you can see those are the S3 URL. And now if we go back to Singularity, let's make sure it's running. Okay. Okay, let's have it running. Since it's going to take 10 minutes for each car file, I'm going to try to make it low, like less. So we're going to see Singularity, grep, create. We're going to use the deals as 1 GB, so that otherwise it will have to wait for 10 minutes for it to be generated. Actually, even 1 GB is too large. Let's do 108 MB. And you also want to set up a temporary folder. You can just say here. You want to skip some inaccessible files, and want to say this data set is called this. Actually, we can use the slug lim here. It's the same one. And then S3, this one. And then the output folder, we can just use this output folder, and it should get started. And we'll list it. I think it's working on it. Okay, let's see how it goes. So it has scanned 226 files. It generated 188 car files to be generated. Maybe it's still increasing. Okay, it has 188 car files to be generated, and it's probably working on generation here. Let's look at the CPU. Or maybe not, it's not. We can see that it probably it's right now probably downloading the data. Oh, this is my local machine, so I'm using Wi-Fi. That's why it's slow. So it's probably download something, but very slowly. But here you can actually monitor the status here. Let's make it a bit lower. Okay, so it's downloading, but it's not really super fast. It's downloading like 2 MB per second. So maybe it's still too large, 100 MB. So we're gonna wait for like a minute for it to download some files and generate it. But assuming it's all generated, then by the way, it's downloading and generating at the same time. So once it's downloaded and generated, it's going to be removed from our local file system. So that makes sure that you're not going to download the whole 16 GB of data to a file system while have the same copy of car files. So assuming it's done, then you can do something called Singularity grep. Let's make it larger again. Here's something called upload manifest. Even larger. So this is going to upload the manifest to webc.storage. You can say I want to upload this data set, which is called, I think this is a name. And with same slug name. So hit enter, and it should fail because they also need the Web3 storage token. But it should tells you, yeah, you have to set the Web3 storage token, which you get from here. And you can say export. This one equals to this one, and then run again. And since there's no file, so it's probably gonna be done. Oh, okay. Now it's trying to upload the. Oh yeah, the database model is already there, so it's done. The reason because even if we haven't generated all the files, actually I don't know why we should not be. Okay, it said actually okay, gotcha. So it says there are 188 files, it's all done because 182 generate requests are not yet complete, which indicates 6 of them have already complete. You can actually check whether they have actually completed. And you're seeing, yes, there are actually 6 have completed. So 6 manifest files have been uploaded to web2.storage. So that's kind of the flow. And once you get more data prepared, you can just do upload again. So the manifest will be used for later for Data Explorer, for back layout, complete over data. But that's kind of right now is a requirement for deal engine for this car file to be ready for deal engine to send out deals to storage providers for the Slingshot BC program. Great. So that's the flow for how we prepare data for Slingshot B3 and be compliant with all those complicated requirements. But yeah, in practice, it's only a few commands to run.
Thank you so much, Ian. This is so cool to see. Any questions from the audience?
You have a quick question. I know previously using the tool, if we would get a generation error, we'd have to manually go in there and restart it or get it to go. Is there any type of automation there where, I guess if there's a generation error, it would just automatically retry again? I know previously we had to manually do that.
So you can just say that I want to retry it, but it's a manual invoke because I think so I think it should be do manually. That's because right now we don't know whether an error is retriable or not, because we don't really want to have it manually retried automatically, but actually some file is not there or the permission is missing. So I would suggest that you just do a list and see what's the error. If it's retriable, then just hit the retry.
Zinan, I have one question. Can you download these datasets without the prep tool using some other fast
S3. Oh yeah, you could use S3. I think the benefits of this one via you download it beforehand is here you are downloading and preparing. So you end up only having 1 copy of data on your file system. But if you download it beforehand, you end up having 2 copies of the data on the file system. For data set that's like very large, like 2 petabytes, and you only have 2 petabyte disk space, then this will be more helpful and more reasonable than you download it beforehand.
Okay.
And another quick question here. I know previously I was doing rclone fuse mounts for the cloud stuff, but now I guess you have it natively with the S3. Are you expecting, I guess, the native way through Singularity? Is that going to be better performance than doing like an rclone fuse mount?
So I actually haven't tried the rclone fuse mount, but for other fuse mount I've tried, I've seen issues here and there. Some of them like if the folder contains too many files, then the list in that folder is actually going to take a really, really long time. And because if you're like if the Singularity is assuming it's just a local file system, it's going to list that folder, and that call can actually take even hours of time. But instead, if you're using a native solution, it's going to scan using, it's paginated, so it will be faster because when you scan it, once you scan some files, you can start generating. But instead, if you're doing a fuse mount, either it's slow or what we observed from other fuse solution like Goofy's or S3FS, they have some issues. Some of them will just panic. Some of them will actually gives you less files than it actually has in each folder. So yes, I would assume that using the native solution is the best right now, unless you find out some more like a reliable fuse solution. But I haven't tried rclone. I wonder how it works.
Cool, no, Roger, appreciate it. And then last one for you. You can run, I don't think I've ever done it, but I'm just trying to get clarification here. You can do Singularity across multiple machines too, right? I think you call them Singularity workers. Can you, I guess, expand on that some?
That's right. So basically, Singularity, there's actually a doc somewhere. There's a doc in the README. Basically, the database and the server you can host on one machine, and then you can span the workers in multiple different machines as long as they talk to the same database.
So does that, I mean, we need to do they need access to the same file system, or is it going to work?
So okay, yes, they need to access to the same. So it depends. If it's like a S3 dataset, then it's also going to download from S3 directly. But if it's if you're using the if you're using the local file system, then you have to make sure that the same folder, same path structure is the same across all workers through some kind of network mount.
Gotcha. So I guess I clarify. I'd have to run like NFS or something and get the same mount across all the workers.
Right. That's right.
Okay.
But usually what we observe is like the disk IO is really the bottleneck. So your NFS mount will probably gonna be the bottleneck or the underlying disk.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's all.
So a common file system is only needed for the workers when you're downloading the same data set. Or if you're downloading multiple data sets, if you have claimed like
Oh,
one
you're
or
right.
two
You're right.
different.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
I was assuming that you're just preparing one data set.
Right. Okay. And then once the data is prepared, then you just have like a web server where you have all those car files, maybe hundreds of those car files. And
Right.
then and how do you share? You just post onto the slingshot fill channel that I have this URL if someone would like to download.
So I think right now the Slingshot Bistro website has a feature where you can upload the yeah, Carrie, do you want to explain a bit on that?
On the Slingshot website, after you claim a data set, there is a way for you to put that link directly in the UI on the website.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I also think I shared like a single one-line bash command which you can shell command, I'm sorry, shell which you can just get the status of each file and generate all the HTTP link in one go and just use that file as that which you can upload to the Singularity to the Slingshot website.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's use around 5 minutes to get into breakout rooms and just kind of meet each other for just a little bit of time before we end today. All right, I'm gonna start the breakout rooms. 3, 2, 1. This is interesting. Can y'all hear me? I see people jumping around different rooms. How do you say your name? Pasampan? You're muted. All right. Can you hear me, James or John?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess he might be away at the moment. We'll just keep this kind of short. The goal is to have the SPs kind of get to meet each other, get to know each other over time, so then they can cultivate some relationship or collaboration.
Yeah, that sounds great. Last breakout was pretty useful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, had a notary meet SP and just kind of talk about Go Plus a little bit. So I actually had a question for you.
Yeah.
To take this time. So moon landing, some of is pushing the participants to do deals through Slingshot Evergreen?
Yeah.
I see. I guess Slingshot Evergreen was already kind of a public available event if you signed up for it. I
Yes.
guess will moon landing be bringing like more moon landing specialized deal?
So moon landing is catered towards these SPs that are not super familiar with the tools that we use for Slingshot and Evergreen. I know in ESPA, you teach them how to seal CC sectors, right, with borrowed machine. So moon landing is meant to be this extra layer of hand-holding for them to learn how to seal verified deals using Slingshot and Evergreen, because this way they don't have to go find data cap and data sets themselves. We as PL would supply, and for other people in the room would supply the SPs with these data sets. That's the goal of moon landing.
Ah, okay, got it. Thank you.
Hi, Andrew. And Fapawit, I'm not sure if I pronounce your name correctly. All right. Since there are no more questions, I'm going to call everybody back to the main room. See you soon.
Bye.